Hello.
Oh, good evening.
Hello. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Z Planet Live. Just making sure we're on all platforms. Good evening. Good evening, Rick. Good to see you again, sir. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, my phone's going off. That must mean we're live.
Yeah, we are. Oh, good. Morning, Richard.
Oh, yeah, there we go.
Oh, hi, Nathan. How are you, mate?
Bear with me.
I'm
I'm shouting away here.
Fantastic. I was going to check we're live on these platformy things, as they say. Yep. We're live on YouTube. We are live on Twitter, I think.
Twitter,
as I call it.
We like Twitter.
Yes, we're live on Twitter. Let's just do the... Here we go.
Are we there?
We are there, sir.
We are there. Excellent. What should we do a bit of housekeeping before we?
I think so. Yes. Yes.
What we're going to do tonight? We've had this idea, which we're going to do at the start of every show, sort of a news roundup of that particular week. So,
which I haven't researched.
We will be doing it.
Yeah.
So bear with us. But regardless of what the subject for that particular week is, the news thing could be about anything, about chupacabras. I love saying chupacabras, so that's why I just keep saying it. Chupacabra sightings, Bigfoot, aliens, all that sort of stuff. So it'll be a roundup for the week. So hopefully that's something we can start on our next show. We will do lots of research on that one, see what we can dig up. Other than that, anything that's... we got some videos that we're going to try and play, aren't we, Mark?
Yeah, but when we go in a minute, we're going to play another video of me and Gaz from 13 years ago. Gaz doesn't look any different. I have longer hair then. Hello, Rose.
Oh, yeah, Rose, my auntie Rose in New Zealand. Oh. She's lovely. She's so lovely. Oh, yeah, Rose. Missing you,
New Zealand. Wow.
New Zealand, yeah. Yeah, she's lovely.
I was going to change my light. I'm looking very pale here. Let's just turn that off a second.
Yeah, get some sun.
Oh, I love the sun, man. I love the sun. I'll turn it on when it gets a bit darker, but I don't know.
I don't know. Look more black and white there, mate. What's going on?
Yeah. There you go.
That's better. Got a bit of colour.
I had it before.
Don't know anything.
I can't even pronounce it. It always sounds better when you whisper it ominously.
Ominously, yeah. I say chupacabra because goat sucker has all types of connotations to it. So
yeah, goat sucker, sir. Oh,
suits you,
there's
sir.
There's the lovely Mandy. I'd have come and seen you today as well. Doing nothing today.
It's all made it today. Lovely to see you. Can't wait to go back.
We'll have a big get together soon.
Yes.
So today, did you have any paranormal news of the week?
I haven't.
Oh, right. Well,
I'm waiting for this super duper graphic that you're going to do and this intro.
Yeah.
And
I'll do a nice super duper graphic.
like John Craven's news round or something similar to
that. Yeah, before we get going, we are going to be today's subject. These are subjects I said every week. We come back to them. We'll be coming back to UAPs. We'll be coming back to ghost investigations. Today we're going to be talking about psychic mediums, mediumship. Oh, is that feedback? And a fascinating subject, which that is. Oh,
possibly. Hang on. Keep going.
Hello, testing. 1, 2, 3. Is that right? I've got it. Yeah.
Yeah, probably me. Don't worry about it.
What we'll do, so we can look into making sure that the video is playing okay. We're going to be playing a video that actually is on my YouTube channel. It's an archive video. It's from Gaz and I exploring the secret tunnel at Mitchell and Priory way back in 2008. Give me some crisps.
That's a deal, Mandy. Definitely. I'll do
what
anything.
About me, for Mandy?
Crisps and tea.
Hello.
Yeah, crisps and tea sorted.
Crisps and tea and wine.
So basically, we're at Mitchell and Priory for this event. My first time there, and I found myself into the priest hole, which I found out after I found myself in the priest hole that you wasn't allowed in the priest hole, but I went in there anyway. And next thing I know, that man appears Scares the life out of me and gets my name wrong. But anyway, you'll see.
Oh yeah, but I've already met you a couple of times. So why did I get your name wrong? Hi, Andrew from Croatia.
Hi, Andrew.
Yeah, I got and yeah, it was weird. And I don't want. I have no idea why I said. What did I call you? We'll see in the video.
Daz.
Daz, that's right. Instead of Gaz. I think it's just a. Yeah. But anyway, should we play this in? It's just a funny.
Yeah, this is a little experiment to see, because we want to try and use more film clips and that. So this is our little experiment to see how it's all going to work. So enjoy.
Well, actually, bear with me 1 second. It's disappeared. No, it hasn't. There it is. Okay, cool. This is Gaz and I in Mitchell Priory in July 2008.
Going up to the first floor at Mitchell Priory.
Okay, there is a secret passage. I don't know if anybody's seen it. Now it actually goes right down to the bottom floor, and it comes out in the fireplace. There's a hatch. So there's a secret passage.
Was it?
Yeah. So don't go down through the hatch because you'll literally fall into the fireplace.
I'm just in the secret passage with Daz, actually. Absolutely fascinating place. Very spooky. I'm going to go down and join him now. He's down there.
See, now they're shitting themselves, they just see my torch shine.
I know, we could really play silly buggers with them, actually, couldn't we?
In here with us, could you make yourself known to us, making a noise? Could you touch one of us, throw something?
See, most people just go down the pub on a Saturday night, you know.
Yeah.
What do we do?
Could you throw something? Throw one of these bits of rubbish that's on the floor here.
I'm trying to remember our way out, actually.
That's better. Right, focus a bit.
Oh,
wow.
Fascinating.
Fascinating. Oh, I cringe when I say Daz. I mean, must have meant to call you Gaz.
Yeah,
but when I say Daz, that's a cleaning product.
Mm-hmm.
You know, loving the creepy at the beginning. Yes, that creepy piano was meant to play in an episode of a certain TV series. It didn't. Yeah, yes, of course. What's that?
Me, ignore it.
Okay. Hi guys, just say we've got 15 watching so far. That's not bad. We've only been on that air for 10 minutes. That's good. We wish happy 4th of July to our ex-colonists over the pond. Hope you're having a great day. So happy 4th of July. Still get a bit of feedback. So I've got all of them in mind, but you know how it goes. That's right. Welcome, Andy. Welcome.
Hi, Andy.
Max. Hey, Max is here as well. Hello, Max. Good to see you, sir.
Very welcome, Max.
And you are indeed, Max. So yeah, today we're going to be talking about psychic mediums, psychic phenomena, mediumship. Later on, about 9 o'clock, we're going to have a special guest on, which is Chris Conway, who's been in the business for a long time. Fantastic medium. That's been interesting talking to him. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we're going to go through what clairvoyance is, some of the meanings behind it, because there's so many different disciplines. You can't just say somebody's psychic. Somebody might be clairvoyant, clairaudient, blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, There's professional mediums, there's raw mediums or raw psychics, I like to call them, like Mandy. So yeah, there's different disciplines. People just do readings. Some people could be psychic but can't do readings. There's a lot of fraudulent stuff going on, which I'm sure that's why it gets such a bad press. But I think it's actually, personally a genuine phenomenon. I find it absolutely fascinating. I really do. Do you want to add to that, Gaz?
No, it's something I've always kind of been on the fence about, mainly because of the stories you hear, the fraudulent stories, the stuff you see on TV. Not all of what you see on TV, but most of what you see on TV. And then it comes out later that there's been some kind of trickery involved or foreknowledge of actually what they were talking about. So it spoils it a bit. But then again, when you meet people like Mandy and Chris Conway, who are very, very sincere in what they do. And I sort of pride myself, Mark, on being a good judge of character. I can tell when people are doing a load of BS and when they are trying to think up something, and it's they're just trying to make it up as they go along, basically. Well, when Mandy gets something, it's straight away, and it's not, you can tell the difference, and it's the same with Chris. And I was talking to Mandy about this today, actually. Herself and Chris both do the same thing. If they walk into a building and they're not picking up, they'll say, sorry guys, I'm not getting anything, rather than trying to wax lyrical about all the energy they're picking up and all that crap. If they're not getting it, they'll say, I'm not getting it.
I mean, bring Alan Barnett in, the medium we use, the late Alan Barnett, who we worked with for many years. Same thing. He said, sorry, Mark, we've been, I think I said this on a previous show, we were at, I can't remember where we were, I won't mention it in case we embarrass the medium who was there that night. But they were coming out with all this stuff, reels and reels and reels of stuff. There, the little drummer boy, there was this, there was that. And Alan was going, I'm sorry, I'm not saying he's not getting that. I'm not getting absolutely nothing. And he didn't pretty much the whole night. And I was more impressed with Alan, being honest, as always, because he wasn't seeking it. He just saying, as it is, he said, I'm sorry, I'm not picking up anything. So, But
to play devil's advocate on that one, big time, Rick. It's also known as the BS-ometer.
Yeah. Yeah.
I should market that, shouldn't I?
It was a public event. The person there's got to do his job. That's something I'm going to talk about a little bit later on, about pros versus psychics.
If you talk to mediums, a lot of them will say that they work on a certain vibrationary level, whereas another medium might pick up something on a different vibrationary level. So
yeah, absolutely. They do work on different levels. Yeah.
So
you could be in the same room. You could be in the same room. Two very good psychics. They might pick up on totally different things. It's good if they do pick up on the same thing, and they're not party to each other's information. That's what I'm always after.
That is impressive. Yeah.
I've heard that a few times actually. Stanmer House was quite a good one. When we did Stanmer House around all those Brighton investigations we did, when we did the Police Health Museum with you. That was interesting. We'd like to see, if anyone, especially people like Mandy, if you've got any sort of psychic stories or you want to bring them aboard. I mean, Gav and I worked with a lot of psychics over the years. So
it's my racetrack again.
Oh my God, is that a motorcycle, man? Oh gosh. Wow. Are you right by main road?
Yeah.
Oh, no,
it's not even a main road. That's the annoying thing about it. It's just a normal road. And we've got the boy racers love their farty little exhausts around here. I don't know why.
Remember at the cottage at the farm on the A31, yes, when Alan and I both picked up on the same lady. Yes, I do remember that. I never edited that together, did I? I did shoot that. Was that the one we did with Val Hood as well? Yeah, we never edited that together. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah,
that was very good.
I've not seen that one.
Yeah, no, I've got a few. Hello, Sally.
Hi, Sally.
We've got a few investigations I've never edited together, like when we did Frankie Howard's house in Somerset through Ray Jordan. We did that with David Wells. I've never edited that together because there's reasons why. I don't think someone was fairly treated. But yeah, I might put that together, Mandy and Gib, 2 hours apart without talking to each other. Oh, your dear son. That's so funny. Oh, I love that. Alan. Yeah. Oh, Rick, did you know Alan? Is that Alan Barnett you're talking about? Did you know Alan? That'd be fantastic if you did. He was lovely. He actually not fell out, but he he fell out with me for some reason. I'd never understood why. Then we reconnected at the end, which was one of the most beautiful moments I've had in my life, actually.
Yeah, lovely fella.
Yeah, I don't know why he did. I don't know why. Dude had no answer why he just sort of distanced himself from me about 8 years ago, and then we reconnected towards the end, which was fantastic. Yeah, I don't know.
That was good.
Yeah. So yeah, psychic abilities. Yeah, I mean,
Well, I was quite struck looking into this today, Mark, about how many different things there are. It was like this big list of what is considered psychic abilities, and some of them I'd heard of, others I hadn't. And it covers everything from psychometry to dowsing, all that sort of stuff.
Remote viewing. It's something I'd like to do a whole program. Like remote viewing is very interesting.
Scrying, all that sort of stuff. You know. But the ones
that's scrying when you just get your eyes a little bit tired and you start seeing shapes which aren't there. That's scrying. Isn't it?
No, scrying is usually done in a dark room in front of a mirror. With
that's it.
The old way of doing it is a candle and water running down the mirror. And it comes from the ancient saying to descry, which means to view from a distance or perceive with the eye. And basically, you look through your reflection that's just candle lit, and your face transforms into whatever spirit is trying to come through.
Yeah, that's been done so many times. You look at anything long enough, your face will. I could do it in bright light. If you stare at something long enough, you can see all sorts of shapes. That's psychological.
It's just another discipline. It's another form of divination, isn't it? So I've tried it. I've had a go, and it is quite.
I've done it, and I thought, no, my eyes are tired. I personally just dismiss all that. It's just I just think if you stare at anything for too long, you're going to see things.
I just like freaking myself out. It's quite cool.
Here's one for you. Do you guys believe this is something you can train to do or just born able to do? Very good trust. There's a lot of mediums. This is another thing who offer courses to bring out your psychic powers.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. I think you probably are born with it, but I think they say everyone's got psychic ability. That could well be true. The
thing is, Nate, I've spoken to a couple of mediums about this, and they've said that everybody has got that ability to tune in. Like a TV that's not on a station, it needs tuning in. So if we have all got that mental ability to be able to perceive things in another dimension, we just need to turn the knob. I was going to say. That's quite funny.
Vibration, frequency, and energy. Vibration, frequency, and energy. Yeah.
So I reckon
anyone can do it. Yeah. It's. I mean. Yeah. So yeah, I do think everyone probably has got the ability, as Gaz quite eloquently described there. You're just tuning in into something else, but we're still stuck in our three-dimensional world. It's very, very hard. So you have to have the right conditions to sort of do it, which I mean by through maybe meditation, that kind of thing. You're not going to do it on a busy motorway going to work in the morning.
Exactly, Mandy. But I have told it can affect your eyesight, so you got to be careful on that one.
Yeah.
No, what Mandy's just said. But that leads on.
You are so funny.
If what is your birthday? And you can't see the chat room, that's what we're laughing at.
She's so witty, that one. Just twiddle your knob.
But there is a theory that children are born with that ability, which is why children see things that we can't see it. And as you get older, you kind of lose your innocence and change your perceptions of the world, and you lose that ability. So there is that side of the argument.
Nathan hit the nail on the head there. Maybe we're all too busy glued to Facebook and Netflix. We need to unplug from that first. Now, personally, I'm not going away from psychic ability because it does touch on this. I'm getting very much into doing sort of meditation. I've been doing it a few months now, really trying to do it daily. And sometimes if I'm not working, I'll do 45-minute hour meditation, especially the ones by people who know who he is, Dr. Joe Dispenza. And it really is unblocking yourself and getting yourself out of yourself into the ether, into the field. Absolutely fascinating. I really say, I'll put him in the comments, his name. Really look up Dr. Joe Dispenza. Probably one of the most, you won't see him on mainstream media, but he has a hell of a lot of a following and does these retreats and everything. Dispenza. There we go. There we go. Dr. Joe Dispenza. Oh, I've done it twice.
I'll have to have a look at that.
Yeah, it's really good. I've known him about 10 years. He was in the career. What the bleep do we know? That kind of thing, you know. But he's a scientist. He's a doctor. I'm thinking of doing a video in an abandoned building. Have you ever used any spiritual equipment? If so, what would you suggest? Terry, I understand you're back at work tomorrow. Talk to me tomorrow. I know it's going to be a big day for you. Come and talk to me. I'll let you know. Usually yourself.
Terry, don't use anything electronic.
Don't do it on your own. Don't do it on your own. Always make sure someone's with you.
Yeah. Go old school with it. You don't need you got all the tools you need, Terry. They're built in.
Well, I think Mandy just summed it up very beautifully. You just need to let yourself believe, listen to your gut, and go with it. Let yourself go with it. Absolutely. That pretty much sums it up. I think, you know, you've really got to get out of our three-dimensional reality. You know,
electronic equipment can give you false readings and send you down the wrong path. So, and it's more hassle than it's worth. If you go old school, you can't have any outside influences. If you are in control of a locked room, you put a cross on a piece of paper, draw around it, lock that room off, go back, and that cross is over the other side of the room, and you know no one's been in there. Argue with that. You can't. Yeah. But if you're getting a strange thing come through on a voice recorder, for instance, yes, it could be paranormal, but it could also be interference, electronic interference. So use stuff that there's no ambiguity attached to it. You'll know if you get results, they are the results. End of. Yeah.
We're going to do, with things like EVP, we're going to do a whole show on EVP because there's a really nice lady in California through this is sending us some great EVPs from her home. Something's about 15 so far. And these are all in the last sort of week or so, couple of weeks. So we're looking at that. I've given her a little bit of advice because also she's giving us the EVPs to telling them what they're saying. I said, no, don't tell me what they're saying. Let me work it out for myself and then see if it correlates to what you think it is.
But what we'll do, we'll do, Terry, I've always wanted to do this, and I've spoke to Mark about this in the past, do an old school investigation, the way Harry Price used to do it. No electronic equipment, you know, screwed up newspaper, flour dusted on the floor, doors.
Terry, I'll come with you.
That sort of stuff, you know, so it takes all that stuff away. You know, you haven't got all that stuff you got to worry about. Oh, is it this? Is it that? It's old school, and I reckon it'd be so cool. Do an old school seance as well, you know, old Victorian style seance. So, something to think about.
Like that for many years, you know. It's only all equipment's only really quite a recent thing, and most of it's pretty useless. But, you know, the old school it's a lot of fun. Also, a little bit of a history lesson, how they did things back in the day. As Gaz always says, he likes the old way of doing things, you know. So, that will be interesting. What to say? Terry Ann, if you want, I'll come with you. We can both vlog it.
Max, absolutely. Max was just saying there's an idea that he read that the main reason babies cry unexpectedly is that they're seeing things that older people cannot see. It's one of those theories that can't be proved or disproved, but it gives a lot of thought. It does, exactly.
Yeah,
and it's the same with pets.
As you well know, Max.
You see a dog staring off into the corner of the room, freaking you out, and he's staring for ages, and you think, oh, there's a fly up there or something, but you can't see anything. What can the dog see? So,
like animals do as well. You know, a lot of animals can see things, and I think we just discussed that in the past, that they can see into the corner of the room. What are they looking at? You know, it's quite fascinating. And it's totally with the old school approach, Gaz. You know,
become too reliant on the gadgets, Andy. I think too reliant, and it makes good TV. Lots of little flashy lights and gadgets and that sort of stuff. But they're putting too much faith in the results. They'll get lights on an EMF meter and make a big deal. I'm like big
deal. You know,
but you can tell when a phone is interacting with a K2, for instance. It's that telltale blip, blip, and then it stops. And you put your phone next to a K2 meter, it does exactly the same thing.
Richard, come down and meet your good lady wife. I've seen her on video in some of Richard's videos, but yes, we will sort that out. My apologies, Mrs. Suggett. Apologies. He's terrible, your husband. Imagine your outlook from a child onwards, gathering dust over time until you cannot see through the lens. Nice metaphor. If that's a metaphor, is that a metaphor? Yes, a metaphor. Yes.
Yeah.
Terry Ann, what's both of your favourite spiritual experience? Oh God, how long you got? We'd have to think about that. We'd have to think about that. I'm more not so much experienced, but what psychics may have come out with. I've had a few experiences myself, but I mean, let's just talk about something here now. I'm not. I don't think I'm a psychic. I'd say everyone probably has that ability if we tune in. But I do pick up atmospheres. I think you do as well, Mr. Brown, because you've done it on investigations sometimes.
I think we all do to an extent. We can walk into someone's house where two people have just had an argument, and you can tell there's an atmosphere, can't you?
Yes,
so we can all do that to an extent.
Well, here's the great. I love old churches. I'm not religious, and I went to a lovely Saxon church recently. It's one of my vlogs on my channel, and I walked in. I'm there doing a history vlog, you know, and I went, oh, real heavy energy down by the chancel, you know. And I'm thinking, right, I need to go back there and do some dowsing, find out if there's an energy line going through. Because as a dowser, which is another subject we'll do, but I don't actually think dowsing is paranormal, which is quite controversial to say. I think it's quite natural.
But there's no scientific evidence of it.
Although water companies use dowsers, well, they don't so much nowadays, but they did only up until about 10, 15 years ago. They would use them. They wouldn't shout out about it. But yeah, we'll do something on dowsing. My kids are creeping me out now. Creep me out now at end of time. Remind me to tell you guys about my kids signing outside a haunted hotel. Nowhere's haunted. It's everywhere. That's interesting, Nathan. That's interesting.
Yeah. Tell me about that, Nathan. Definitely. I love hearing stuff like that.
Yeah.
I really
Good
do.
guy, Nathan. Good guy. Good guy. Put some very interesting links to, especially on the UAP subject. Very, very interesting.
But no, I've been witness. I've been lucky enough to work with all sorts of mediums over the years on different events and that. Some good, some not so good. Like the one who turned up in a kilt and weren't even Scottish, and it was the middle of winter. And I was thinking, what's he keeping under there? Anyway, he didn't impress me, put it that way. But I've had a weird thing happen. I didn't consider myself psychic or anything like that, but I was going to potentially do an investigation at a Warner Hotel, one of these beautiful old buildings that they turn into.
They're lovely, aren't they? Yeah, they're lovely.
And we was getting showed around and walked through this doorway, and there were steps leading up to what used to be the orangery. If you don't know what an orangery is, big old conservatory, massive thing. It used to have orange trees. Looked in there quickly. Oh, yeah, that's very nice. Turned right. Ended up in the library. So he was in there for about 10 minutes, and we're just chatting away about the place and how an event would go at the hotel and how it wouldn't, you know, impact on guests that were staying there. Came back out the library, and the steps leading up to the orangery were carpeted. Well, when I walked through, they had orange and white tiles on them. So I'm kind of like, what's going on here? There's a bit of weirdness happening here. And I said something straight away, rather than just going away and wishing I'd have asked. I said, you know, this has just happened to me. It doesn't happen to me very often. And went over to the carpet, peeled it back, and the original orange and white tiles were under there. You couldn't see them without peeling. But he said the whole floor is tiled, but because the general public use it, they had to carpet it so it was non-slip. But the original orange and white tiles were under there. So that's kind of a weird thing, that. But yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's interesting. If anyone has comments about any psychic experiences, please let us know. But so, you know, because we met sort of quite a few psychics on public events that we help run and things like that, you know. Some have been very, very, very good, but you know, some have been a bit really. I wouldn't ever name these people because I don't like to sort of say who's good and who's bad, because I'm just going by my personal experience of working with them. 99% of them are lovely people, and they're just doing their thing, you know. I mean, there is a big role. I personally, this is just personally, like to sort of people with reputation are good. I like working with raw psychics like Mandy, who have nothing to prove. They're not.
He's frozen. You're frozen.
Have I frozen?
Sorry, mate. You froze. You did freeze. Yeah. We did for me. I don't know about for everybody else.
Oh, sorry.
Doing the old Norman Collier.
Everyone's going to go, who's Norman Collier? He's still around. He's still around. Great story about the tiles. Thank you, Sally.
Thank you, Sally. Yeah, it did freak me out a bit, but it was cool at the same time. Sorry, Mark, go on.
No. So it's hard to sort of listen, even though you make notes. It's hard to listen, look back on loads of investigations. Even though we've filmed a lot of them, I filmed a lot of them. To think sort of those specific points when okay, that's a good bit of evidence. Or that's a bit. I should have write them down actually and start doing a compilation video. Of all the stuff we've done. For example, just going slightly off topic, I'd really like to go back and look at that footage from Covered and Hatch we mentioned last week with the phone going off. And there's no power going to that phone.
I know.
And it had to go off when we're in that room. That's the only thing I thought was interesting. It had to go off when we're in that room and nowhere else.
Yeah, and no one was on the other end of the phone, obviously. So yeah, that was kind of cool. That. But yeah, I think montage of the biggest, most impressive things that happened. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it?
But we are going to get back out into the field soon. Probably in the autumn if we can get everyone back together. We keep saying that.
But shall we just we talk about the subject at hand for a minute?
Oh yeah,
I didn't. We are talking about mediumship this week. It actually started. Now, I did a little bit of research today on it. I know a bit about mediumship, and I've heard some names like the Fox sisters, Doris Stokes, all that sort of thing. But I didn't know about mesmer, where the term mesmerizing comes from. Apparently, mesmer used to think that the fluid in your body was magnetic, and he had the ability to wave his hands over your body and put the magnetic properties back into line because it was causing illness and that sort of thing. So I didn't know about any of that sort of stuff. So it's pretty fascinating. And then I came across a list of these psychic abilities and what they actually entail. So some mediums or psychics, Chris will tell us what the difference is, if there's a difference, or all mediums or psychics, or all psychics, all mediums. We don't know, but I'm sure he'll tell us. But you've got clairvoyance, which is clear seeing, clairaudient, hearing, claircognizant, which is knowing. They know, they can know why they do know, but they know, just know. Clairempathy, which is they pick up on emotions, which I think that is quite a common one. You walk into a place like an old Victorian prison, which I've done a few of those, and you can really put yourself in that mindset, and the atmosphere is heavy, and you feel a feeling of despair come over you. So that's quite. I should imagine that's quite a common one. Clairsentience, which is that gut feeling you get out of nowhere. You don't know why you get it. You just get it. Don't go in that room, or don't turn left down that road. There's something bad then, or something like that. Clairalience, smell, which is apparently the most common one. Where you walk in, you can smell tobacco smoke. I can smell flowers. That particular perfume that person always wore, I can smell it, and a lot of people do report that. Clairgustance.
You what? Are you making things up?
No.
Is that flatulence?
Taste.
Yeah,
they get tastes out of nowhere, like a metallic-y taste. I've heard reported. I'd not heard of it called that, but apparently it's a thing. Okay. So there you go. And Claire
Jones.
Clairtangency, otherwise known as psychometry, picking up energy from an object. Some say that a person's energy is imprinted on a personal object, so there's like a ring or something like that. You can pick up the ring, some mediums, and they can go, it belonged to this lady and that lady and blah blah blah. So all those, and I was
that's how Alan Barnett started out. He started touching stuff and getting these visions, and then he had what we call his fantastic light show he had in his back bedroom about 4 o'clock in the morning once, about 2004 or 5, something like that. This most incredible light show, which he described to me in detail so many times before he passed. So that's very interesting, very interesting.
So I never actually I'd not heard them called that. I knew about the smell, taste, but I didn't know there were actual names for it. then I was sort of looking into these old Victorian seances and the way they used to do it. I mean, the idea of communicating with the dead goes back to ancient times. You know, everyone thinks that it's like a mid-19th century thing, but it goes back to ancient times. The thought that when your spirit leaves your body, you can communicate with it. There were people in the tribes in deepest South America and that, where there was a designated person that could communicate with their ancestors, ancient Egypt, all that, you know. So it goes back a hell of a long way. But this actual movement, the spiritual movement, actually gained momentum in sort of the mid 18th century, as I say, where well-to-do people would dig out the old Ouija board and sit around the table and do their seances. The word seance, if you don't know, comes from the French word to sit or sitting. That's where it comes from. And first of all, they tell each other's fortunes with this device, and then it gained momentum as a spirit communication device. This family came on the scene all of a sudden called the Fox sisters. Now, apparently, they, as children, lived in a farmhouse in New York. Not a farmhouse, just an old house in New York. And they reported that up in their bedrooms, two of the sisters, Kate and Maggie, I believe. Yeah, Kate and Maggie. They were hearing these rapping sounds coming from the bedroom. And it was actually answering questions by taps. One tap for yes, two taps for no, Yvette Fielding style, you know. And it actually got to the point where they could figure out who this person was. And it came back that it was a peddler that had been murdered on the property. Well, people came in to witness this. Their sister Leah, I don't actually know how the story goes, but they ended up moving from that house to Rochester, America, not Kent.
Not Daniel Way.
No, with their sister Leah. And they became a trio. Leah found out that history of psychic ability goes right back in the family, and that she has also got this psychic ability. So they became the Fox sisters, the trio. And they started doing demonstrations in about 1850 where people would go in and pay $1 and they could have up to 30 people sat around a table. And it was bells, it was apports. If you know what apports are, it's things appearing, feathers, anything up to trumpets would appear out of nowhere mysteriously. Ectoplasm appearing from nowhere, like a person would open their mouth and this weird substance would come out, apparently.
Wasn't a lot of that debunked, though?
Yes.
I've never understood ectoplasm. That doesn't seem to be something that's part of the modern...
No, it's not. This is all, but they lapped it up in the 1850s. Absolutely lapped it up. There was a lot of...
Melvin!
Hi, Melvin. A lot of trickery and fakery going on, and a lot of it was debunked. But a lot of it they couldn't, because they didn't have the wherewithal to know how to do it then. Yeah. Nowadays, Darren Brown could do it every night, you know, and he's about as psychic as a sock. But he knows how to do that sort of thing. He's shown how table tipping works. So,
well, there's two things there. Can I just cut into row about Darren Brown? First of all, Melvin. Hello, Melvin. Melvin I worked with on summer camp in the late 90s. One of the most beautiful human beings you could possibly meet. Thank you. He's in Kentucky. Am I right, Melvin? Kentucky? Lovely to see you, mate. Darren Brown, well, he was supposed to be filming a special this week, actually.
Yeah.
But I can't say it because it's not happening anyway. But he did a gig at our theatre about 11 years ago, and I had a really interesting conversation with him backstage, because this is about the time he exposed that medium up in Liverpool. Do you ever remember that TV show he did where he what was his chap's name? I can't, Joe something. And I sort of was rallying Joe Power, that's right. Yeah. I mean, it was cringing. It was cringing watching this poor medium just get absolutely annihilated by him. And he's such a nice guy anyway. Oh God, I'm going to blank now. Who am I talking about? Darren Brown, thank you. But backstage, I've got a nice photo of me and Darren, actually. I was on the defense of mediums. Even back then, I was talking about raw psychics. I said, you can't just say every psychic is false. I said, because you're dealing with a professional medium. What about raw psychics? I said, I've known people for years who I've known almost since their 20s. And they say to me 30 years later, actually, Mark, I know you did the paranormal. Did you know this? That I've been clairvoyant all my life, but I don't make a big shout out about it. So we had a really interesting conversation about that. So I basically said in some words, you can't say that every psychic is faking it, you know. And he sort of agree with me. He just sort of agree with me.
Exactly. I mean, it's a generalisation. I've seen a Darren Brown stage show. I nearly got picked to go up on stage. Thank God I didn't.
Didn't even know it. He couldn't be that accurate all the time, though, Mandy, could he? I don't think he is. But maybe. I don't know.
He certainly wouldn't admit it, would he?
No, some of the stuff is going. I mean, we've all watched this stuff and going, what? Absolutely astounding what you see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But the abilities that a lot of these stage mediums have got, it is cold reading. They're very, very clever at it. And it's not just the stage mediums. It's Gypsy Rose Lee that you see with the crystal ball. It's all cold reading. And they will extract information from you without you realizing that you're giving it. If you are going to get a reading off of a medium, the best thing to do is sit there and go, give no more information, because a proper medium won't ask for it. They won't.
I've done that. I've been like, yeah, when they didn't know I did paranormal. Someone also, I think Cal Cooper, parapsychologist Cal Cooper, who I know, who's in my movie, written many good books, Telephone from the Dead. I'm sure it was him who did this. He once did a stage act as a parapsychologist. He's not psychic, and he held his own for about 24 minutes just by reading body language and getting stuff. As they like to say, that word spot on, which and then he came clean at the end. And luckily, the audience wasn't actually hostile. They actually found it really interesting. So he's proving it can be done. You know.
Oh, absolutely, it can be done. And then you've got the hot reading, which is a few mediums, stage mediums, have fallen foul of this fairly recently, where they were caught getting information. They're in the foyer to start with, signing books, asking these questions. Oh, whereabouts you sitting? Do you want to fill out this prayer card? You know, what are you hoping to get tonight? This sort of thing. So they've got their seat number or the general area where they're sitting.
A reason I'm going to interrupt here, mate. I've got to be very careful here. I have to be very, very careful. But a very famous medium who played our theatre quite a few times.
Yeah, I know you can say. I'm not deliberately not saying her name.
No, but apparently there was some similar things going on there. So,
absolutely. Absolutely. And the one that James Randi caught, whose name escapes me, was caught with an earpiece in.
Yeah, what was his name?
Looked like a hearing aid. And James Randi was backstage with a radio scanner, and he actually found the frequency that they were transmitting to the medium, telling him all about which person, which part of the crowd to pick on. So, you know, it's a
really good BBC4 documentary about James Randi from about 5-6 years ago. Obviously, James Randi passed recently, and there's a whole section on what Gary's talking about. I'm trying to find his name. That chap who
I like
did
the Randi Challenge. It sounds disgusting, didn't it? The Randi Challenge.
Yeah.
But yeah, nobody ever won it. Nobody ever picked up the money for the Randi Challenge. It was basically
I don't know.
to give proof.
I mean, I don't really know how that could work. Was it Peter Popoff? No. Uri Geller?
No,
Uri Geller, that's an interesting one. Uri Geller.
Popoff, I think. Something like that. That rings a bell.
Yeah, I think it could be him. I know who you're talking about, thank you, Sally. I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's true. I'm not saying it's true, but I heard things, you know, but I'm not saying that it was true or not.
We hear stuff.
Yeah, we hear stuff.
We know.
Yeah. Randi Challenge. But yeah, it was interesting times actually. But yeah, Randi, I think James Randi is very, I mean, he's amazing some of his stuff. He's too close-minded. That's a problem, you know, with these people. We're very critical of things. We're very skeptical about things, but we're not close-minded. That's, you know.
Yeah, but all he was trying to do was look at it from a scientific experiment point of view, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that if a medium went to him and said, right, okay, I've laid down the gauntlet here, I want to take your challenge. He had to pass a certain criteria that James Randi had set in place. I don't know how many, I think it was 3 specific criteria that would prove without a shadow of a doubt that that person had psychic ability. Nobody ever passed it. So for whatever reason, I don't know whether the criteria was ridiculously hard. I don't know. But nobody ever claimed, I think it was $1 million, wasn't it, Mark?
Yes, it was. Yes, $1 million.
Yeah, nobody ever claimed it. So, yeah, weird one. But,
you know, I mean, I don't quite know what he really would like to prove to get him. What would you need to do? I don't really know what you need to do.
There is a spoof video on YouTube of somebody claiming it. It turned out to be an April Fool's joke. Randy was in on it. Parts of the audience were in on it. Where a guy actually did the challenge, and you'll see it on YouTube. So you will see what the criteria actually is. I think it was knowing of the unknowable was one of them. Right. You'll see what I mean. Have a look at it. But it's quite funny, and it's a spoof. But it looks serious until right at the end where he says April Fool. But yeah, nobody actually claimed it. So
yeah. It's interesting. I mean, when you talk about psychic ability, it's also going on about sort of I'd say high consciousness. You know, it's a much you know, I've said before, it's not all in here; it's all out there, and we're just channeling it through. You know, here and beyond. I would like to think. Nathan, Uri Geller working with the CIA. Yeah, that's interesting. I think they found he was 50-50 with what he could do or couldn't do. I'm actually I'm quite a sort of fan of Uri Geller. I think he's a really interesting individual. Also, I think longevity's got a lot to do with it. I mean, correct me, because if people have been doing this for how long have you been doing this for? Since the 1980s?
Something like that.
Yeah, he's an interesting fella. Interesting fella.
I think I'll just say this much: he's a showman.
Well, of course, there's showman stuff in it. Yeah. Of course there is. Of course there is.
He winds me up, mate. He winds me up.
I liked him until the weird Michael Jackson thing. Oh, that was, I mean, talk about disrespectful. That was just disrespectful.
Funny enough, the line's there and he was somewhere over there with it, you know, that he was just, no.
Ask me your opinion on this, guys. I'm going very quickly off topic. There's a YouTube channel where this guy uses a spirit ghost box, and all he does is contact famous dead people, Michael Jackson, John Lennon, all that. And you really have to watch these videos to believe it, but I'm not giving me any more views. You get thousands of views. And it's extraordinary. And you listen to what's going through the spirit box, and it's just gabble, absolute gabble. But, you know, gets 200,000 hits a video. So what do we know? We're doing something wrong.
Well, no, that because, I mean, a lot of it will be like morbid curiosity to go on there and take the mickey out of him. And if anybody actually took it seriously, they might get offended by it. But the fact that it's just a load of crap, they're not going to get offended, are they? It's just some idiot with a broken radio thinking he's in contact with bubbles. You know,
well, he listens to Absolute Radio. Well, he's American. Of course, it's in America. You know, no, I'm not having to go American Ghost Hunters or anything like that. But yeah, I've said before, you know, with the psychic ability, it's all about demons again. It's all about the bloody demons. We need to move away from that.
Yeah. Oh dear! If you're going into the D word, that's it.
Oh, we'll do a video. No, we couldn't do a whole show on demons. We'd just be taking the mick all the time, wouldn't we? The truth doesn't always pay. Thank you, Nathan. Nathan speaks a lot of sense. Yeah, absolutely, mate. Absolutely.
I've got to practice what I preach. I said we will give every subject the paranormal a fair shout. So if we've got to talk about demonology, that's what we'll do.
But I don't know what demonology is. Somebody needs to really explain to me what if you're a demonologist, what is that job title? I don't understand really what it is.
I don't know.
Someone please tell me.
I don't know. We'll have to ask an American.
Yeah, I know. I'll have to ask Fred Batt. You know, what is a demonologist? I don't really know what it is.
No, I used to go on a lot of the American shows, and I've got nothing against them. I love Americans, all right.
Oh, I go there all the time. Well, not at the moment. I'm not. Yeah, I love
the shows that I were going on were a lot of the paranormal shows, and they used to get demon hunters on and people doing exorcisms and things like that, and then get me on at the same time to upset them because it was good radio.
That's really upset them? No, surely not.
I'd quiz them, and I weren't nasty. Sometimes I was nasty, but as a rule, I wasn't nasty. I would just wanted to know what actually makes them think that this is a demon? And by the way, can you give one a passport and send him over to Britain, because we don't seem to get him over here for whatever reason, I don't know. But anyway, they didn't see the funny side of that. But my
America
theory
would be a
is,
much more religious country than we are over here, of course.
exactly, and that was my point. If you are in the Bible Belt in America, which a lot of these people are, not all, but a lot are in this Bible Belt, and you believe in angels, then you're already predisposed to believe in demons. So anything bad that's coming through, you are going to put down to demonic activity. There's no such thing as poltergeist activity over there. It's all demonic activity, and this person was taken over. And where I fell out with them, they completely missed the step where they would look at the mental illness side, the possible mental illness side, get them checked out from that sort of side first. It was instantly, we're going into the exorcism, we're going to exorcise these people and just make it a lot worse. And I didn't mind telling them that, and they didn't like it very much. And I got kicked off a lot of shows because I weren't towing the line, you know, and blowing sunshine at their backside.
Why can't you just give a rational? No, what we're doing is giving an alternative, rational explanation. I remember doing this I did a really good interview on, back 10 years ago on Talk Radio. Which is a radio station, a very good radio station, and I was sort of saying the same thing as you. I was saying, well, you know, you got to rationalize everything. We're never here to take away people's experiences. That's something completely different. But you've got to rationalize everything. Not everything. It's amazing TV shows seem to get evidence every show they go on.
Have your own beliefs by all means, right?
Have
your own beliefs. Don't ram it down people's throats like the Taps guys. I used to like these guys when they first started, right? Now, look, I can't get sued. Crack, it's my opinion, all right? Everyone's allowed to have an opinion. The Taps guys, and I'm not saying anything that ain't true, by the way, okay? They used to go in on these investigations and they would set up all their equipment and they would get EVPs, or they wouldn't get EVPs, and they would sit down at the end of it and say, yeah, this house is haunted, or there's no ghosts here. Because you've done an 8-hour investigation and you've picked up a load of crud on a bloody digital voice recorder that you've put on the screen what you think it says before we've even had a chance to listen to it ourselves. So, of course, that's what we're going to hear.
Oh, when they do that,
they are ramming their belief down somebody else's throat. Okay. Now, if you are completely green in this subject, you don't know anything about the paranormal at all, you get something weird happens in your house, a lot of people are called in the local paranormal group to come and have a look, who are going to jump at the chance because they got a free investigation out of it. Now, these people that have called this group in are going to see these people as experts, even though you can't possibly be an expert in the paranormal field. How can you be an expert on something that there's no proof of its existence? All right. It's like being an expert on the tooth fairy. Okay. You just can't do it. But they see these investigators, these demonologists, all that sort of thing as experts, and they're going to believe everything they're told. That's where I fall out with them. And I try and politely tell them to start with. And then when they don't listen, things get a bit animated. So that's why I used to get kicked off a lot of shows in the States and that. But
I've done a few States.
Can't change him. Can't change him.
We're going to have Chris on in a minute. He's just having a few technical difficulties with his webcam, so he might be just a little bit delayed. But we'll be looking forward to speaking to him. It's going to be fantastic. We've got 18 watching. It's amazing. I don't understand how this works. We've got 18 watching, but when we do the playback, goes out onto YouTube, it automatically starts as a playback. We get like over 100 within a day. I don't know how that works. Yeah.
Maybe it's not accurate. Maybe that's just on one format, Mark.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know. But
haunting is like weather everywhere, but good weather some places and bad weather in others. Maybe it's like a wave. Who knows? Here he is. Here's the merry man. It's good. So is everyone happy to get our guest on if Chris is ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. If you're ready.
So I'm very pleased to. It's our first guest we've had on the show. Now Gary knows him very well. Worked with him quite a few times. I know of him through his reputation, of course. So I'm going to bring on the lovely Chris Conway, and there he is. Hello, Chris.
Hiya, guys.
Nice to
How
see
doing,
you.
mate? All right. I'm going to try and get. Oh, no, that's wrong. Let's try and get you.
Yeah, we're actually intrigued to know what a third person on the screen looks like. So we've only done 3 shows, Chris.
Especially when I'm using my phone, because I went to link in and the webcam isn't working. So I'll probably end up with a sore arm trying to hold the phone.
Oh, no.
Oh,
no. It's just my life.
It's so good to see you. Really is good to see you. It's been too long.
Thank you very much for coming on.
No, I'm really looking forward to it, guys.
Great. No, this is kind of a new thing for us, Chris. We've been talking about doing this show for a long time, and it's something we thought, right, we're just going to get up and do it. And then we've done a few subjects over the past few weeks, and we decided to do one on mediums. Now, I've worked with yourself quite a few times.
Yeah,
Mark knows of you, and we couldn't think of a better person. Yourself and Mandy really are the only 2 mediums that I've got respect for.
Thank you, mate.
Right, because you say it how it is. There's no pretense there. There's no ego. No. And we were saying earlier that if you walk into a building and you're not getting anything, you'll say, "Sorry, guys."
Yeah.
And that always impresses me more than anything.
But can we take it back to the beginning, Chris? Because we're going to have people listening that don't know anything about mediumship. So when did this actually start for you?
For me, it started about the age of 7. I grew up in Glasgow, just in a little council flat. And my mum and dad, they didn't let us have friends in. For some reason, probably the fact it's Glasgow. And this one day they heard my voice talking to someone, and they knew that my brother was away to I think it was a cadet camp or something like that. So they went through to the bedroom to give me into trouble because they thought I'd sneaked friends in. And when they went into the bedroom, what they seen was this little boy talking to what they thought was nothing, because I was just sort of looking into the corner having this conversation.
Right.
And my dad asked, "Who are you speaking to?" And I said, I'm speaking to the old man. And my dad went, "Okay." So my dad was asking me about this, but when he was asking, to be honest, he was taking the piss. Because I know you hear about mediums, it runs down families and things like that. It doesn't remain. There was no mediums. I think my granny, her sister, was apparently a medium, but we don't know too much about it. But so it wasn't common in the family. So my dad just thought it was a wee boy with an overactive imagination. So my dad being my dad, he was just taking the piss, asking me questions about it. And I said this name. And my dad can't remember what the name is now, but it was a weird name. And I told him it's the old man. And I says he comes to see me quite a lot. And I says his wife's there as well. But I didn't know a name for her because I say she doesn't speak. She just stands there smiling.
Right.
So I told them what they looked like and things, and they forgot about it after that. They assumed it was invisible friends, which is very common for people, parents. Well, society as a whole will put it down to invisible friends. So it was about 2 weeks later, they were speaking to someone who lives in the area, and this elderly lady had been there for years. So my dad says, "Oh, by the way, young Christopher's got invisible friends, but Chris being Chris, they're old age pensioners." So they're all having a chuckle about this, thinking it was funny, until my dad mentioned this weird name. And apparently the old lady's jaw hit the floor, because it wasn't as I said, it was a council flat we were in, and 2 tenants before us was an old man and an old lady. And the weird name that I gave was apparently the old man's nickname. So it wasn't his name, it was his nickname. And the description was perfect. And then the other bit that kind of creeped my dad out was the fact that my dad will mention the old lady. He says, "But she doesn't speak." And she went, "Yeah, that was his wife. She never spoke. All she ever did." Wow. He was very outgoing, but she was very shy, and all she would do is stand beside him smiling and laughing at all his jokes. So at that point, they knew there was something kind of weird about me. And from then, I got up a wee bit. I knew that spirit was there, but I always liken it to somebody that's gay and coming out to the world about about sexuality. And because I would try and tell people, and I would always get met with the same look of horror.
Well, especially back then, it was a taboo subject, wasn't it?
In Glasgow, especially, in the council estate was a very, very rough council estate. So anybody out of the ordinary didn't really survive long. They would get battered very quickly. So everything was really quiet then. In my early 20s, I met someone who was into the paranormal, and this person, I sort of told him what I'd seen when I was younger and what I've seen since then. And he was obviously being into the paranormal himself. He was very, very interested. And from then, it just sort of led to me being a bit more confident to talk about it. The more I spoke about it, the more I embraced it. And then eventually I got to a point where I felt confident enough to say, this is me. I might be going mad. I might be crazy. I don't know. But I see dead people. I speak to dead people. And it was never scary because these people because people always ask me, you must have been terrified at that age, but I've never seen, and I think it's probably why I'm like that now, even when I'm on telly. I'm not one of these sort of glitzy mediums that wear the silver suits and try and be razzmatazz. And I've never been like that because of the fact it's always been so normal to me that I don't see spirit as something scary. They've never been something scary to me. They've always been just other people that are unlike us, but in a way they're like us because they can communicate to me. So that's basically how it started. And
so when if you take yourself back to that initial interaction, the first time it happened, I'm trying to put myself in the mindset of a 7-year-old. So you see these people appear in your room, just like a person standing there, and you can hear them like you can hear me now.
Some spirit. The older I've got, when I was younger, it was more physical. It was almost as if they were standing beside me. The older I've got, it tends to be the third eye that they communicate with. And I don't know if that's because the older I've got, then obviously children have got the ability without society trying to push it out of you. So I don't know if that's because the older I've got, it's not as it's probably matured to a different way. But now mostly I still see them physical, but nowhere near as much as I used to when I was younger. When I was younger, it was always physical. I would just see people turning up in my bedroom, wanting a conversation.
It leads on from what we were talking about just before you came on, Chris. Excuse me, there's noise outside. We was talking about children seem to have that ability, but lose it as they get older. So
I'm a big believer that's because society it sort of conditions children when they're becoming adults to believe that it isn't what it is, because it's like we were speaking about earlier. The first thing and it's not parents' fault because it's just what they're led to believe. The first thing a parent will think when wee Johnny's holding hands with her best friend, the first thing a parent will think is it's an invisible friend. They'll then tell the kid it's an invisible friend. The kid gets a bit older. It believes it's an invisible friend. It couldn't be spirit. And they lose the ability. I think I was just lucky that my mum and dad had been speaking to this elderly lady. Because if they weren't, I would have probably believed it was invisible friends and I would have grown out of it.
So we had this, we was reading out this little list just before you came on of the different abilities of what mediums can do. So some can just do one, others can do a lot, like clairaudience, clairsentience, that sort of thing. So you've got the clairvoyant side of it where you can see spirit, or you did do at least, but you say you still do see spirit at times. The clairaudience side of it, And then you've got the clairsentient, the smell, the cognizant. Are there any aspects you don't actually get?
No, I basically got everything.
You got the lot.
And again, I put that down to just luck. I put it down to the fact that because they'd spoke to that person, they never pushed it after that, but they never told me it wasn't there, because it was a story that they would tell their friends. So I would always hear this story. So that just reassured me that, right, okay, they know who I'm talking to. They believe in who I'm talking to. And I think I'm just lucky that it wasn't conditioned out of me.
Yeah, we're lucky as well. We're lucky.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's an absolute pleasure, like working with you over the years. You know, every time we do, I look forward to it more than I ever have done with anybody else. Mark, you'll have to jump in, because I could talk to Chris all night. So if you wanted to ask Chris anything, you jump in and just tell me to shut up.
Well, one thing I've always interested to know, sort of you say, you know, when you see spirit or communicating with spirit, and I ask this to every sort of medium or psychic I know. Oh, I feel so sorry for you having to hold your phone.
No, you're fine. You're fine. If it starts to go down the way, just tell me.
That's fine. Especially when you're communicating with spirit sort of psychically, how does that actually feel? How do you take a random thought and know it's just a random thought as to something you're actually physically you're mentally communicating with? Is there a sort of a particular feeling that you get, or a vibration? It must have a bit sort of ish.
It's a lot clearer. When I'm sort of having a daydream or thinking, or it's a lot more sort of hazy, especially a daydream, because you're trying to sort of put things into, you'll focus in on one thing at a time. Whereas spirit are there communicating with me and showing themselves to me. I see everything at the same time. It's a lot clearer. The thought process is a lot clearer, and it comes from out with me. So I'm hearing the voices. So I would probably say that's the main differences. It's the how clear it is. The fact that it's not me. If I'm daydreaming, I would say, right, what did the door look like, and what's behind this house that I'm thinking about? I'm always having to create things, and then you'll forget about that thing. Whereas when spirit are showing me things, it's there. I can see it all and look at it all. And
yeah, I've kind of had a snapshot of that myself, where I've walked into somewhere, and I've talked myself out of it. Almost, no, that's just my imagination. I'm putting my mind's eye, and I'm trying to put myself in that situation, what that place was like back in the day, you know. So maybe I should learn to sort of trust it more and go with it and explore it, I suppose.
Yeah,
does that still happen to you?
It does. It does. I always say to people, the difference between a medium and someone who doesn't proclaim to be a medium is the information is validated. Like, for example, if I'm doing a reading for somebody, and I'll tell them I'm getting through, for example, an elderly gentleman, the name George is heavily linked with him, blah, 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 blah. If that thought comes to yourself or Mark, then you're thinking of the name George, and you're thinking of an old man. For me, when I'm telling the person this and they say, yeah, carry on, that I then tell them more about George, more about the elderly man, what he looks like, etc., etc. So that then is validated by the person that's getting the reading. Whereas for yourself or Mark, that you don't get that validated.
That's right, yeah.
So, so to yourselves, you won't know. Is it just a thought? Is it because I'm in this elderly house that I know the history of it? Is this why I'm getting these feelings or these images coming through? And that's why I always say, especially on paranormal investigations, that's why I'm a big believer in getting lay people to speak up if a name comes to their head or an image, because you have probably found it yourself that it's interesting that when one person maybe mentions a name, 2 or 3 other people have been thinking of the same name. Or the same feelings, and then that again, that's that validation. It's that they're starting to get things for themselves, and that's why as as you know, I'm a big believer in getting the guests to try and validate some things for themselves, because I think it's a lot more of a buzz to be able to think, oh, bloody hell, I thought that. I actually got that name, rather than some random bloke from Scotland got that name and told me about it. It's for that guest to go home thinking, bloody hell, I actually got that name. I just think it's so more exciting.
Absolutely, and that's why I had a lot of time for you, Chris, because unlike a lot of other mediums on an event, it wasn't the Chris Conway show. It was about those people that had paid money to come on that event and experience paranormal investigation. And to listen to you talk at the start, people would think you were a skeptic. Yeah. Because not everything is ghosts and spirits. You know, you will go through the list of stuff to look out for, look at it objectively, because it would be perfect for you if everybody thought that every little tap and bang was a spirit. You know, make your night really easy, wouldn't it? But you don't work like that. No, you don't work like that.
I'm a big believer that, as you guys know yourselves, that in an investigation, maybe 95% of that investigation will be you standing about listening. It's that between 2 and 5% of something that happens, and that's what gets you addicted, as far as I'm concerned. It's that unexplainable part. And to me, if you're going to a company and 95% of the stuff's happening, it's all kicking off, straight away, I don't know about guests, but I'd be thinking, even if I wasn't a medium, I'd be thinking, right, this is a bit of bullshit. This is most haunted here. You know what I mean? It's happening too easy. Whereas if you're only getting that 2 to 5%, and at the end of that night, you're saying, right, what was your best part? And people are saying, oh, it was maybe it's just a whisper, or the taps seemed to have a rhythm about them where they were answering questions. It's those kind of things that when they think about it, they think, I don't know what it could be. And that to me is what gets them the buzz. It really is. And that's why I'm just a huge believer in it's the guest night. It's all about them.
Oh yeah. I mean, I remember the one we did up in Scotland. I can't remember the name of the manor house. All I remember is it had a fire engine underneath it in case there was a fire. What was that? What was that place?
Was that the one that we did? Was that the one we did as a charity event?
I believe so. Yes.
Was that Ray Hill? It was Lord David.
Rings a bell.
Who he had allowed me to use his house.
That's right.
Yes. In a big manor house, and he'd allowed us to use this to raise money. So I think that's probably what you're thinking of.
Had his own fire engine underneath the house, didn't he?
Yeah. That's incredible place. Yeah.
But I remember something you said on that event. You actually said to the people at the start, I would rather you experience nothing tonight than go away thinking something funny was going on.
Exactly.
And I think a lot of that relaxed a lot of people, you know, and it was a really enjoyable night because of that.
Yeah.
So
it's a bit fun at the end of the day, isn't it? It's about if nothing's happening, I'm a big believer, have a wee giggle. Because as soon as you have that wee giggle, something's going to kick off. Because as soon as somebody will say something stupid, usually me, and maybe a couple of people are laughing, that energy starts to rise. And as soon as the energy starts to rise, spirit, it's like a car battery. They hook onto it and they're saying, right, let's get this done. Let's use this energy. And that's why to me that's what it's all about.
It tends to happen though, doesn't it? The more light-hearted it is, the more sort of stuff you get.
I found that.
Without a doubt. Because I think I've been with some companies who take it all not too seriously. That'd be the wrong thing to say about them, but they take it very seriously. And of course you need to take it seriously, but they don't allow any laughter at all. Everything has to be, we need to stand here waiting. We need to wait for something to happen. And that's the energy in a night like that. It falls so quickly because people are getting tired. There's nothing happening. So because there's nothing happening, it's like having a TV show where something has to happen. You're setting yourself up for a fall.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
If we look at spirits for what they are supposed to be, which is basically people without a body,
Yeah.
You know, who are you going to want to spend time with? A load of people that are sat around with face like a smacked ass, or people that are having fun? You know, you're going to want to do that, aren't you? So
no, you're going to join the group that's having a laugh, aren't you? Because
absolutely,
because your personality doesn't die. Your personality goes across with you. So if you're a funny wee guy when you're alive, you'll be a funny wee guy when you pass on.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
we're just passing through, you know.
Of course we are, Mark. Exactly.
Do you think there's any such thing as... sorry, Mark, go on. Like I say, I'll talk all night.
This is absolutely fascinating. Question I always ask psychic, which is not a normal question that they get. When you're communicating with spirit, what's their reality like? Because they've passed on to something else. Do we ever get an impression of what their reality is like once we've all moved on to the next stage of consciousness?
It's a very good question, Mark. From what spirits told me, not all spirit will tell me what's happening there. Some spirit have, and the spirit over the years that have told me what happens is they're in the same place they were. So they're still in this earth. They're not in this place called heaven. They're not in this place called hell. They're still here. They're just happen to be in a different plane. So their vibration is moving quicker.
Right. I like that. Yeah.
When they pass their energy vibration, it's just speeding up. So as you know, when vibration moves slow, you get a lump of wood because it's solid and it's moving really slow. The faster it moves, the more transient it gets, and that's the difference with spirit, is their vibration is moving so quick that the human eye can't see it.
Right.
But they're still there. They're still around us.
Sorry.
No, carry on, Mark.
I've always said, I mean, I sort of bark on about this for years now. You know, I don't think anywhere's haunted. I think it's everywhere. You know, I got more psychics. People see walking down the street, they'll see something. You know, if they're not even the least expecting it. So I've always said, I've always been critical of the word haunted, saying no, it should be everywhere. It doesn't need to be a 500-year-old manor house. I work in a 110-year-old theatre, which is very nice and very lucky to do so. It's very active, but I think it should be no more active than the Wetherspoons pub across the road, because they might have had a manor house on the site before. You don't know. I don't know how you feel about that.
I agree with you in the fact that I do think some places are more haunted than others, just for the fact that something might have happened there, which has captured that energy, or it's captured a reenactment. Whereas, but again, then we're talking not about spirits, we're talking about ghosts, which to me they're two totally different things. Ghosts are like a DVD, they're like a recording, and they're just being replayed. They have no personality. They don't know we're there. They're just doing what they did when that particular thing was captured. Whereas spirits are intelligent. They know we're there. They've got the personality. But I totally agree with you that everywhere can be classed as haunted, because of the fact that anywhere humans have been surely can definitely be classed as haunted. So I totally agree with you with that part.
Do you think the energy dissipates? I'm trying to play devil. I'm trying to be fair.
Right? I mentioned this last week, didn't I? I mentioned this last week. Yeah.
Why aren't we seeing caveman ghosts? Why is it always the grey lady from Victorian times or something? I mean, we hear the odd Roman centurion and things like that, but it always seems to be like a couple of 100 years or whatever, not really ancient spirits. Yeah. What's your theory on that?
My theory on that is that I believe that we come back here for a short period of time. I'm a big believer in reincarnation. And I do believe that we're sent back to this plane to learn something different. And maybe we didn't learn what we're supposed to learn in our life path, so we're back again. And so when this energy, spirit, whatever you want to call it, is capable of communicating with us, it's because at that moment in time they're out their body. Right. So to me, they're out their body for a certain amount of time before they get then moved back into a new body. When they get moved back into a new body, they don't. The odd person does, but very, very few and far between remember their previous lives. So that's my theory behind why we don't see caveman ghosts. It's because of the fact that they wouldn't be out their body for that length of time. They can be out their body for a second, maybe years, but eventually they will disappear. They will go back into another body, and that's why I believe it's not a fact. It's just my own belief and my own theory that's why it happens that they go back into another body. So that's why we don't see cavemen, we don't see Roman soldiers. Again,
I think that was more ghosts actually.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's more Roman soldiers thing, I think, as a ghost. And that's why when we always see Roman soldiers, they always tend to be legless because of the fact that when we think of where that road would have been in their time, because obviously it's built up over the years, so they're walking on what was their road. But when we're seeing it now, there's foundations of a pub, if we're looking at the one in York, which wouldn't have been there in that time. So that's why we're only seeing the legs missing. Or
the Golden Fleece, isn't it? Is it Golden Fleece?
Yeah. M6 toll road as well. Roman soldiers going across that. I think I've heard something similar to that, Chris. I think Hans Holzer. Any guys that you listening, you don't know Hans Holzer is. He actually investigated the Amityville haunting, amongst other things.
Yeah,
he was quite a disbeliever and skeptic at the start, and at the end, he actually gave over an opinion that you do go up to this place when you die. And you get sent back multiple times because you've got to experience every facet of human nature. You've got to live a life where you're rich, a life where you're poor, a life where you're murdered, a life, you've every facet to attain that higher level. Yeah. So that was his theory. So very, very similar thing.
Yeah, and we're always learning. We're at each lifetime, and let's face it, we learn through experience. So if you're born into a life where mummy and daddy's done everything for you because they're rich, you're not going to experience the same sort of thing where someone who's poor grows up in a rough part of a city, and they're going to experience totally different things. So that makes sense, because then you would need to keep coming back, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
Because Rick's asked an interesting question. I mean, also, how do you feel about this? How does spirit manifest itself visually in your eyes, Chris?
In my eyes,
it's
like I was touching on earlier. When I was younger, it would be physically. They'd be there in front of me, and there'd be no difference between looking at you guys and looking at spirit.
Wow.
They would just appear, and they would be, and that's why they weren't scary to me, because it was going back to the old man story. When I see an old man like that, it was an old man. It wasn't this big bogeyman that would come in. Woo! It was like an old man talking to me, and quite interesting.
Totally natural.
Yeah. Whereas now they tend to manifest themselves. It's mostly in the third eye, and I'm sort of two things with that. One, I think maybe as I've got older, my abilities changed from what it was as a child, or it's possible that spirit do that because it's them trying to conserve their own energy. Whereas to show someone physically, it obviously uses a lot more energy. Whereas to show themselves with the mind eye, they're using a lot less energy. So I'm not 100% sure why it is, but that's the way it is for me now.
Do you actually think there's anything such thing as an evil spirit?
To be honest with you, I think we've got as much chance of meeting an evil spirit as we have meeting a truly evil person. And if we didn't have newspapers or news programs or documentaries, we wouldn't know about your Fred Wests, your Jack the Rippers. We wouldn't know about these people. We only know about these truly evil people because we see it on the news. So when you think of the amount of billions of people that's in the world, well, you imagine what small percentage that is of the truly evil ones.
Yeah.
So when they move on to the next plane,
we were joking earlier on. Sorry, Chris.
No, carry on, Mark. I was just going to say they're not certainly going to come back.
It's interesting what you're saying, because Gaz and I were talking earlier on, saying, and especially people in our American audience seem to see a hell of a lot of demons.
Yeah, and I think that's because America is a much more Christian country than here. And I was brought up Catholic, so I was brought up with the demons were there, and I think I'm not religious at all now,
Well, me.
No, I just don't. I think the more I learn about spirituality, the less I believe in religion.
It's interesting. I find a lot of my psychics and mediums aren't religious. I find
Yeah.
it quite. They're spiritual, of course,
Yes.
but not religious. Interesting.
And I think that's because the more we find out, the less it makes sense of what churches are teaching us. And I think that's growing up with what I was experiencing with spirit, to then go to chapel on a Sunday, and this priest would be standing telling us this is what happens, and this is and about these the bad people and the demons and hell and heaven and things like that. And I was sitting as a wee boy thinking that's bullshit. I don't believe in this place called heaven. I don't believe in this place called hell. I've never met anything evil like a demon. I've met spirits that are naughty. I've met spirits that are bad. But in the full time I've done this, I've never met a truly evil spirit. I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's like, I think it would be your same potential as meeting a truly evil person here. We just don't meet them. We just hear about them.
Yeah.
Unless you're unlucky.
Going back to what you're saying about reincarnation, which I'm with you on that. Totally agree with that. But Nathan said, if consciousness is energy, which can't be destroyed, third law of thermodynamics,
that's
that
right,
would
yeah.
explain reincarnation. Maybe consciousness will always eventually find its way back into a physical form.
Yeah, I totally agree with it.
Interesting.
Energy can't be created; it can't be destroyed.
No.
It's a scientific fact, and that's when you die. As far as I'm concerned, you die. Your physical body, which is just a vehicle, it turns to dust or rots away. That then returns to the earth. So that energy hasn't died. It's just changed form. And to me, the energy that's inside you when you're meditating and you close your eyes, or when you're just daydreaming, and it's that energy there, which science still can't tell us where in the brain this actually exists. They can only tell us that this part of the brain's stimulated, but we don't know where this mind actually is. So when you die, as far as I'm concerned, that is what's set free. It's that thing when you meditate, which church probably calls your soul, that's what's set free. So that energy is then just out there, and it's just being until it's time to get a new body. So I totally agree with that.
Yeah, we're just drivers of this car, aren't we?
Yeah.
We get out the car when the car's at it.
Yeah.
Don't get another car. You know,
that's just... that's basically it. Yep.
Basically, you don't subscribe to the theory that there are evil things out there, entities from the depths of hell that can take people over and things like that. I think
it's bullshit, mate.
You've never come across.
I really do.
Come across someone that's been possessed, for instance, or
no, I don't believe that. I don't believe that. It's going back to this energy that somebody just brought up there. This energy is not created; it's not destroyed. It just is. It exists. Where has this energy came from to create the demon? Has it came from somebody that's been alive who's truly evil, who then acts like a demon, possible? Has it came just as an entity because the church tells us it's a demon? That's the kind of demons that I think are bullshit. I don't believe in them. I just think, no, it just doesn't work.
We're going to blame it on every bad thing that happens in our lives, aren't we? It's like demon attack or something.
Demon attacks, and anything that's slightly negative, let's say that's a demon. No, it can't be a demon. It's not. Everything's a demon. It's.
It really boils my. We were talking about this a bit earlier, Chris, where these people are pushing these ideas on unsuspecting members of the public. You know, they're called in. They've got a member of the family is acting a little bit strange. You know, so they've called in a paranormal group rather than taking to see a psychiatrist or something.
Exactly.
It's possession, and nothing was learned from the Annalise Michel case all those years ago. It's still happening, you know.
Exactly. I don't believe in possession. I've allowed spirit to get close to me on occasions, but I don't believe spirit can overtake me. I only believe that they can come so close to my energy that it feels like they're there because they've
Right.
became that close. It's like me walking up to Mark, and Mark standing in a pub, doesn't know me, and I walk up right close to him. Mark's going to start getting freaked out because I'm in his space, and to me it's the exact same as spirit. It's that they're coming so close, but I don't believe that spirit can come so close and then suddenly overtake your energy, because again it's going back to this theory about energy can't be killed off, it can't be existed, it can dissipate into different forms, but surely two different energies can't become the same energy. Just to me it just doesn't make sense.
I mean, I've worked with a couple of one particular person. The only time I've really been trance mediumship. My friend Andrew Grant's trance medium, and I'm still fascinated by this guy. He's a really down to earth guy, but suddenly has this chat come through when we need to. I haven't seen him for a couple of years actually, but I'm still. That's one person that I mean, trance mediumship is something else. That's a different subject, but it fascinates me that he can actually let this person in from, I think, the Victorian spirit. Formerly a scientist, chap who formerly was a scientist, I think, and he can speak for 2 hours without even pausing for breath. But when you speak to him normally, he's like, "Oh, mate, how you doing? All right." But when he's in trance, he talks like that. You know, it's absolutely fascinating.
And again, Mark, that could be the fact that I was saying. It's possible that with trance mediumship, I'm not a trance medium myself. In fact, for a long time, I actually thought, because people kept mentioning trans medium, and I don't know everything. And for ages, I used to have visions of mediums in dresses, because I used to think, is it a transvestite medium? I just couldn't work out what this was, a trans medium. And then it was through time I actually met somebody who was a trans medium, and I thought, you're not wearing a dress. And I worked out what a trans medium was. So I'm not a big expert on it. But it's possible that maybe this energy's got so, like we were talking about earlier, it's maybe got so close to him that it's not taking over him, but it's coming so close that he's able to draw upon the energy.
Right, so he's not actually losing. I mean, not mentioning, we've all seen it on the telly, haven't we, where they're all throwing themselves about and getting people around the neck and all that. That's something you don't believe can happen. They can come close and impress their emotions, but not take over a body. And
I don't know. I don't believe you can get possessed. I just do not believe in possession one little bit.
They'll call it channeling, won't they? I mean, they are just completely channeling that particular spirit, and it's taken on the persona of that particular spirit. So you don't ever let it go that far, or you don't think it can go that far. I
think with trans mediumship, I know I was joking earlier saying I used to think it was people in dresses, but that wasn't true. That was just me being silly. But I think with trans mediumship, it's possible that, as I was saying, it's just the energy comes so close to them, so they're not lying. They're not saying that what they're saying isn't happening. What I'm saying is, it's possible that they're drawing upon the energy, so that they are bringing their spirit in, but they're not actually losing control of their body.
That's what I was going to say. It looks like on the TV when you see it, it looks like they've completely lost control of what they're doing. It's.
Well, the chap I was talking to when he did it, that's very interesting, very similar to what Chris was saying. He said, well, although the person's in doing the trans conversation, talking out loud, it's almost like my friends, I mean, he's been doing it 20, 30 years now. It's like he's got his feet up, just having a cup of tea while this person near him is doing his thing. Yeah. But the physical person that is the human being is just sort of like, oh, off you go.
That's it. Yeah, he's still there. That's it. Yeah. Yes, so I can totally understand trans mediumship, but I don't class it as possession.
Oh no.
I class it more as channeling, as getting through the essence of this person without actually letting this person take over their body, which I think is a very dangerous thing to believe.
I think so as well. Yeah.
I mean, it's an important thing to talk about, an important thing, especially if you are doing these public events. You're going to get people there that are scared that they're going to get taken over by a spirit because of what they've seen and heard. So it's an important point to get across to them that we've never seen it happen. We've seen some of these TV mediums throwing themselves about like idiots, but in the real world, it don't happen like that.
No.
So
I always say to people, what you see on, I'm probably slagging myself because I used to be on the show, but I always say to people, what you see in Most Haunted, take it as a pinch of salt. It's mostly bullshit. It's mostly done for camera. It's done.
I'd say like all the shows. Like all the shows.
Yeah. I can only talk about the one I was on, and I'm not crying fakery or anything like that. What I mean by that is, TV shows need to dramatise. There's no doubt about it, because it'd be boring for the audience to sit and watch somebody thinking something, because they're not getting that through. So if somebody makes it a bit more dramatic, if they get scared, jump that bit louder, maybe let out a wee scream. It's all that drama is there, and it's just to make it interesting for the viewing public.
And they wouldn't get recommissioned either, these shows.
Exactly. Yeah. They would throw it out.
The thing is that they've been victims of their own. People watch these programs and they've really got into it, and they are into ghost hunting in a big way, and they want to get out and do it for themselves. And that event has come up at Kelvedon Hatch, where Most Haunted was, and where this other team was, and all this stuff happened. It kicked off all night. Yeah. But when I went, we got absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
And people are figuring it out for themselves now.
And YouTube, the YouTube ghost hunters, there's a lot of them. They're getting thousands and thousands of views because they put demon in the title and all this kind of thing,
And that's the thing. It's what people forget. And again, I'm not calling any of these shows fake. Far from it. I'm not.
Oh no, that's not what we're here for. No, of course not.
No.
Of course not. No.
But look, Most Haunted. There's no getting away from it, Chris. Most Haunted was incredible for this particular subject.
Yeah,
groundbreaking.
It created what we've got now. Let's face it.
Absolutely.
There's no
20 years later. Yeah.
I think that what people don't realise as well is they'll watch. I'll mention Most Haunted again because that's what I understand most. They'll watch Most Haunted, and they'll watch 45 minutes of a show, but taking away the adverts. So your first 10 minutes is Yvette Fielding doing her stuff. You've then got maybe 5 minutes of Kieran doing his thing. You've then got 5 minutes of the historian doing their thing. You've then got you lead into your breaks as well. You're probably taking another 5 minutes away from that. So what you're actually seeing from the investigation is very, very small. Now that investigation has been done for a full night. So what people don't realise is that you only get its little snippets. All Mark, you're into cameras and things like that. So you obviously you know, it's little snippets, and these little snippets make it look and seem as if it's been a night where everything has been amazing, where it's been jump the full night and everything's just kicked off. Whereas that night, I know there was a lot of shows that pardon me, that I made that I thought was a boring night. But then I never watched Most Haunted, I'll be honest. I've watched half an episode, and that was the first one I was on.
Really?
And I only watched that because my family made me. Right. A wee confession, I don't like paranormal shows. I'm a big fan of comedy. It's love comedy. And it's not because I poo-poo the paranormal. It's just, I think to me, it's like a busman's holiday. I live and breathe the paranormal. It's my life. So I don't particularly want to sit and watch it on TV. If I was going to watch something, I would rather be there myself doing it. So
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I've lost my thread here. What was I speaking about?
Talk about the show and.
Yeah, sorry. So and I would speak to somebody who would say, "Oh, about a particular show," and they would say, "Oh, it must have been amazing that night because this happened and that happened," and I'd be thinking, "Bloody hell, that was a boring night. I don't really remember much happening." And again, that's just the magic of TV because it's everything all knitted together. It's 10 seconds here where something makes you jump, 20 seconds there where somebody screamed because something happened, but that put into those 15 minutes that's left for the actual investigation makes it seem as if it was a night kicking off. And I think people, when they go in their first paranormal investigation, they expect it to be like they've seen on TV, because they're not they're expecting the edited version to be the way the real version is. And it's not, and I think that's the biggest problem.
Yeah, I think it was a missed opportunity by them guys. I think they had it was great. I mean, the first few hit series, I was absolutely hooked. You know, I thought that I know these guys. They're good guys. They're nice guys. I grew up with Yvette Fielding on Blue Peter. You know, so you know, she's very, very, very trustworthy in that. And I was absolutely hooked for the series and the locations, and I wanted to go out and I wanted to visit them myself. And then all the screaming and silliness started, a bit like the Ghost Hunters in America, the Taps guys, and Zach Baggins now still dancing around about orbs on the camera. You know,
I've never watched it.
Don't.
I couldn't even tell what Zach Baggins looks like. I just know that all the women fancy him. That's all I know, because everybody always say, "Oh, Zach Baggins." But
he really is the worst kind of idiot. I mean, it's a shame because
it's not liable, anyone.
I think what happens as well is the fact that I think paranormal shows are a victim of their own success, because they either need to totally change the concept. When then the commissioners then saying to them, "No, hold on a minute, we didn't commission that. What we commissioned was what you've been doing each series. So don't bother changing it, because it's a successful format."
Yeah, we want Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo gives ratings, don't it?
Yeah, and basically, so I think they're a victim of their own success, because once there's only so long that they can get through with things making them scared. Whereas after that, then it gets a bit harder, and I think that's the problem. I think in the perfect world, a paranormal show would evolve, whereas it wouldn't always be about haunted locations. It would maybe evolve into one season it's about myths, another season it's about something else, so that it's constantly evolving, it's constantly fresh, and the people there are constantly interested and they're constantly excited. But unfortunately, in the real world, with commissioners, it's not that easy, because they don't want it evolving, because they want the format that they've bought.
And it's such a shame, because they have got that ability there to teach people something.
Yeah,
you know,
definitely.
Rather than ramming this crap down their throat that is, I mean, and how old is that series now? It's going like 14, 15 years old, something like that. It's
what series?
Most Haunted.
Almost 20
years, mate.
Is it 20 years?
20 years old? Wow.
Well, and what I find amazing is the same format is still going on in all these shows. It's still the same format, and they've got a new generation now lapping it up.
But I think it's the same format, but it isn't. I think at the beginning a lot less happened, and I think that was its beauty, and that was its secret formula. I think as the seasons went on, more and more happened, more and more things had to happen, and I think that's where the secret formula disappears, because it's at one point they were jumping about over an orb, and they were all excited over an orb. And to me, since then we've all learned that orbs, it's a bit of dust or an insect, but at that time they didn't know, so they were excited that they had this orb. And to me, that's more enjoyable, because it's somebody there that they've got this great interest, whereas this little thing's happening, not a spoon getting thrown across or a stone hitting a wall. It's more something small, like taps, like I think I heard a whisper, and to me that was the secret formula. It was that was the beauty of it. It was ordinary people getting a buzz out of something that they enjoy doing.
Mhm.
And I think now
It's gone a bit Hollywood, isn't it, mate? It's gone a bit.
And after Most Haunted as well, most people started going on investigations. So I think now the general public are a lot more switched on and clued up about what happens on an investigation. So I think now they don't just believe everything that you tell them. So I think the general public now, when they see a stone hitting a wall, think, hold on a minute, I was at that exact place 3 weeks ago. And the most we got was a couple of taps. And I think that's where it's I think it'll come back to the basics again. And I think that's when it'll take off again. When
we were talking about it earlier.
Yeah. And I think
if you got the call tomorrow, Chris, from an exec at ITV, let's say, how would you do it?
He's lost his signal.
Oh, bless him.
No.
Hopefully we'll get him back.
What a fascinating conversation. Absolutely fascinating.
Honestly.
Oh, you've he's gone.
Guy, really.
Oh God, you've frozen as well, Gaz. Oh, here we go. It's probably my there he is.
My thumb clicked on leave.
Welcome back, Chris. Welcome back.
We've all done it. Don't worry, mate. Honestly,
we've got 15 minutes.
That bad a question, was it, Chris?
Yeah. No, you're still happy to go on call tomorrow.
Yeah, if you got a call from a TV exec and you had free reign to make your own show on paranormal investigating, how would you go about doing it? Would you ditch all the equipment? Would you use the equipment?
I wouldn't ditch all the equipment, but what I would do is I would ditch a lot of the equipment, which I think has got too gadgety. I think it's got too much where let's pick up a local radio station and scream about it, because a local
been my pet
DJ
peeve for quite a while now. Ghost boxes.
Where a local DJ will say the name John, and then everybody will scream it, say the name John, the spirit is called John. Why are you here, John? And this random DJ will say something like breakfast. You're here for breakfast, John. And to me, it's just got a wee bit gadget, a wee bit gimmicky. It's, if we use our common sense, we know that's a DJ. We know it's not a spirit.
And it's standard kit now. It's mostly standard kit, that is now, isn't it?
Yeah. And I think what I would do is I would scrap the gadgety stuff, and I would bring back more of the Victorian stuff, bring back more of the sort of the stuff, also more stuff with your own senses. Because let's face it, the best piece of equipment is us. It's nothing electrical. I would also continue to circulate the team so that you didn't have the same team there for 15 years. Yeah. Because I think what you need is that raw excitement on that person. If you're watching something, you need to be watching it and thinking, oh my God, I know how he is shitting his pants. And that's exactly how I would feel. And if you've done something so often, you guys yourself, when you're doing investigations, you don't jump as easy.
No, so you become complacent, don't you? Like, it's that.
It's another. You maybe got a tap. That's not impressing me. Do something else. Yeah, and this poor wee spirit's sitting thinking, it's took me all this energy to tap.
We want full apparitions and stuff flying through the air. That's what we want.
Yeah, and how rare is that?
Hitting the wall.
Yeah.
We've got 10 minutes. I think we're going to 10 o'clock, if that's all right with you, Chris.
Yeah, of course, Mark. Yeah.
I mean, one question I want to ask you, you've explained things so beautifully this evening.
Oh, thanks.
So basically, death is an illusion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Would you say? Yeah.
I agree, yeah. Death's an illusion. Life's an illusion. Let's face it. What we're living and what we're seeing is an illusion. It's a couple of electric impulses in our brains, which is then being worked by another couple of impulses, which is shown as what we believe is here. So death in itself is just us moving from this body, but the actual energy is still there. So you're not dying. It's just, again, your energy's changing.
Yeah. So changing energy. I love that. Yeah, I love that.
Where are you going from now, Chris? Because we want to see you back on the TV.
I was actually approached 2 months ago by a channel, but channels being channels, you know what they're like. 1 minute they're wanting a paranormal show, the next minute they're wanting a farming show. So it keeps going back to this. I won't mention the channel, but it keeps going back to this channel. And the production company know where it is. I don't know what's happening with it. I don't know if it'll happen or not. I take, you know me, Mark. You know me. I take things with a pinch of salt until it actually happens. So hopefully I will be back at some point. I had lost my passion for a long time, as you know, guys. I'd lost my passion for a long time for the paranormal, but I've got that back again.
Good. You know, it sounds cliche, but it was a big loss because you're one of the few out there that just don't talk shit, mate. You know what I mean? Seeing you run an investigation. No, seeing you run an investigation is like a breath of fresh air. And anybody that's thinking of doing this, if you're listening to this, and if Chris starts doing them again, get yourself along because it is incredible. It's not, like I say, Chris hasn't got an ego, all right? It's not the Chris Conway show. Listen to me, everything I say goes, and you're going to do it this way. It'll give you free reign to investigate how you want to investigate. It's your night. You paid for it, all right? Chris is there to guide you, and the team are there to guide you. That is all. And he'll be completely honest. So I hope you do get into that in the future, Chris. When you feel able.
Hopefully I will again, guys. Hopefully I will again. As I say, I've got my passion back again for the paranormal. I'd lost it a lot because I felt that it was getting very bitter and very bitchy. And I didn't like it. It was just getting too bad. But I've took time away and I'm back again. I'm back. I'm ready to come back again. My batteries are recharged again.
Good. I mean, I understand what you're saying about the bitchy. I mean, I had somebody, I know Mark obviously works in theatre, but other people that work in theatre have said, and I thought theatre was bitchy.
Yeah. That's that.
Oh, it is. But I think you've just got to, I mean, you've stood the test of time, Chris. I'm not saying you're old or anything, mate,
no.
But I'm old.
I'm not saying you're old, but you're old.
No, a lot of them have fallen by the wayside, and I don't know, taxi drivers now or something. I don't know, but you've stuck with it, and you've stuck to your principles, and you haven't let yourself be swayed or grown a massive head or anything like that. You do it how you do it, and you won't be told any other. And you know, you've got to be applauded for that.
Thank you.
So,
thank you.
Can Chris join us on the Spiral Paranormal Investigation, please? That's our group. I need to meet him. We have to get you. We have to arrange something. We have to arrange something.
Definitely, Mark. We'll get that arranged.
That would be great.
I was talking to Mandy about you today, Chris. About I talk to lots of people about you, and it's not because I'm name dropping or anything. I've just met so many arseholes in this field that to me, a genuine one is really rare. You know, so anybody that's getting into it, I say, watch some of Chris's stuff on YouTube. There's a lot of stuff out there. Stay away from other stuff that he did. We won't mention any names because that wasn't your format, all right? No. So you were sort of thrown into it. But yeah,
thank you, man.
Mandy, I know Mandy will
means a lot to me. Thank you.
No, you're welcome, mate. Honestly, it's a pleasure. And if ever, and I always said this to you, you know, if you're running an event and you're short of helpers, you know, give me a call and I'm there. So
definitely. Definitely. I always enjoy working with you guys, and we'll definitely get that organised, Mark. We'll get.
Let's chat. Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, definitely.
Distance. Where are you? Are you up still? Are you Scotland still?
Yes, I'm in a wee place called Moffat, which is near Lockerbie.
Oh, blimey. Okay.
Yeah, which is, it sounds further up than it is. It's actually we're about 45 miles away from the English border. So,
lovely place. It's a lovely place. I've been there, and his family are incredible.
Oh,
lovely
thank you,
family,
mate.
Honestly, make you feel totally at home. They are lovely people. Really lovely.
Thank you very much. I mean, it's been absolutely fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us, Chris, and taking your time out.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
As Gaz saying, nice to talk to sort of real genuine person and getting real without going all fluffy and spiritual, and just getting an honest opinion of your perspective from your point of view of the paranormal, which is so refreshing.
I don't do fluffy. I'm as down to earth as can come.
Scotland,
Yeah. You don't grow up in Glasgow and become fluffy. It doesn't work.
Oh no, definitely not. I'm down in, I'm a Surrey puff down south.
I'm further south than you now. What's a worry that?
Yeah,
But no, it's been a pleasure, Chris. Thank you so much. We asked you at short notice, and you've been good enough to come on and talk to us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
By the way, you were the only person we asked.
Oh, thank you.
The only person we asked.
Thank you.
We didn't go through 100 other people.
Yeah, I was 101st on your list.
Oh, Chris is available. How about that?
Yeah, he'll do.
But no, we'll see you soon. We will work with you again. I'm sure we will. And,
Definitely.
We'll document it. Let some of the guys on here see, and we can't wait to see you back on the screen in whatever guys that is in. Just to have you back, will be fantastic, Chris.
Yeah, we'll be.
Thank you, mate.
So thank you, everyone. We'll let Chris go and enjoy the rest of his evening, and we'll pack up in a couple of minutes. So thank you once again, Chris. I'll be in touch.
Yes, definitely, we'll get that organised. But thank you, guys. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you. We have as well. Fantastic. Thank you very much, mate.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Oh, that was fantastic with Chris Conway there.
What a thoroughly bloody nice bloke.
Yeah, real genuine, guys. Real genuine. Yeah, fantastic. Really, really enjoyed that. Look, it was a really interesting interview. Thanks so much for organising. Thanks, Chris. Yeah, we'll try and get Chris back on again in the future.
He's just completely down to earth, isn't he? There's no pretense there. Like I said, no ego or anything like that. He just says it how it is, and yeah, it's I can't wait to have him back on the screen, and work with him again. So he's one of the few that I do actually, I've got a lot of respect for. So yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah, same here. And although we're friends of I've never actually met him, and that was what a wonderful interview. Wonderful. Thank you, Gary, for organising that.
No, that's right. No problem, mate. I knew he'd be a good guest. I knew he'd be an absolutely brilliant guest. So no, I'm glad that you guys in the chat room there, you've enjoyed it, and you guys that are going to listen, I'm talking to you. What's the word in the future now? You guys listen on YouTube. I hope you enjoy it. We will ask Chris back, Sally, definitely, and I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will come back and talk to us about what he's doing, and hopefully that show that he's talking about will come off. And because he does struggle. He's such a nice guy, and he wears his heart on his sleeve. And like he said, he lost his passion for the paranormal because there is so much.
I did a few years ago. I know that feeling.
you just find that it is one of those industries that attracts idiots. Look at me, for instance. It just does, and people get very bitchy and very territorial, and there's a lot of name calling goes on and stuff like that. And it doesn't need to be like that. So we'll find out what he's doing. Hopefully, like he says, he's got that passion back and he wants to get into it, which excellent. I can't wait to see that. So we'll try and get him back on in the future. I still got to sort out that Facebook group, haven't I? Which I haven't done yet, which I will. This will be on playback. Thank you very much all for joining. Anything you want to add, Mr. Brown? No, it's just we don't know next week's subject yet. It's very EVP plant stuff. This, we'll figure it out. We'll come up with a subject to talk about for next week. Drop us a message Mark, message myself. I'm on Facebook, Gaz Brown. You can't miss me. Add me, and just say, look, we'd like you guys to look into this. Yeah,
I'll put you on the ticker tape below at some point. I didn't do it. I would like to ask your permission first before I put Facebook.
That's cool. No,
it's all me. I said to people last week, it's all very me heavy at the bottom because I've got all the social media accounts, and it's through my account I'm doing it. So
it's all right, mate. You do it. You do it, mate. You plug away. It's fine. But no, if you've got a subject you want us to talk about, tell us. We find stuff. I mean, we think we've heard of most stuff within the paranormal field, but stuff always surprises us. We find stuff. Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Like the triangle in Britain. There is a triangle in Britain like a geographical triangle that's supposedly full of vampires. You know, who knew? You know, so something like that. Wow. We will look into it if you want to talk about
Loch Ness Monster, things like that, which I have no real interest in, but I'd be fascinated to hear other people's side of it. You know, we will look into it for you, and we will try and get people on the show that are really interested, that want to come on and talk about it. So we'll try. A few people line. I'm going to start talking to. You know, we're going back. As I said before, we're going back to subject. We're going back to UAPs. We'll go back to ghosts. We'll go back to paranormal investigations. You know, it covers such a wide spectrum. So yeah, chupacabra. Definitely. I don't know much about it. I know what it is, but I don't know much about it. It's a little goblin creature that likes sucking all the blood out of goats in South America. Oh yes, the goat sucker. Yes. I thought it weird Walker Ranch, is it, or is it anything to do with that? No. That's North America. This is South America. It's South America. It's a lot of people say it's like a rabid coyote or something like that, but there is a local legend of this thing that walks on two legs, and it's like it drinks the blood of goats and stuff. And lots of people apparently have seen it. So we can mention the chupacabra. We could maybe do urban legends, urban myths. Urban legends, good one. Yeah, some of these things. Yeah, right. He just wanted me to say goat sucker, Nathan. Yeah, cheers for that. Goat sucker. The goat sucker. So maybe we'll do that next week. We'll look into urban legends. And, that'll be interesting. I don't know much about that, so that will be I'd find very interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, so let us know from your neck of the woods, guys, where you live. Are there local legends of things living in local woods? Yes, one of my vlogs actually. One of my vlogs from down in deepest Surrey. There's a nice local legend about a serpent creature. It is folklore, but it's very interesting. Yeah, it's like, for instance, there's supposed to be something living in Lake Bala in Wales. You know, another Loch Ness monster, but only in Lake Bala. So things like that you might not have heard of, we'll look up for you. And we'll give you the info, whatever we find. So it'll be quite interesting. Contact Gather Eye on Facebook or the Z Planet Podcast at gmail.com. That's the Z Planet Podcast at gmail.com. We can take it from there. Definitely. So thank you very much. Hope you have a lovely Sunday evening. Once again, for our American friends, happy 4th of July, which is still going on. And Nathan, but the Black-Eyed Children of Cannock. I have heard of that one. Yes, I've heard of that one. Mm-hmm. We'll... What is that vlog, Mark? The Buckland Shag episode. Buckland Shag. Go to my playlist. Yeah, it is. It's called the Buckland Shag from the 1800s. Not that sort of party, Mark. Oh, suits you, sir. Buckland Shag. Sorry. The Buckland Shag. Oh, suits you, sir. Oh, suits you, sir. That's what it's called. That's what it's called. I even mentioned it in the Gentleman's Magazine of 1850, I think it was. They called it the Buckland Shag. And there's Morris dancers in that area called the Buckland Shaggers or the Buckland Shags. I'm not quite sure. I want to be a Morris dancer called a Buckland Shagger. I think I'll be really good. Do I get to wear the bells and everything? Absolutely, babe. So I can say I want to do it in bells. Yeah. Right, let's let everyone go to bed. It's a school night, isn't it? Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, I don't start work till 9:30. It's fine. Fine. So thank you very much once again. We'll be back next week. Yeah, we'll be in touch and let you guys know. Me and Gaz talk sort of during the week. And hang on a minute. Now, depending on what happens on Wednesday, we're going to have no viewers on Sunday night because it's the final of UEFA. So we might give next week a miss. Oh God, me who has zero interest in football, but I know a lot of people do. Yeah, so Sunday might be on. It might, depending on what happens Wednesday. If we beat Denmark, if we do, we'll let everyone know. There won't be a show on Sunday because it's the final and blah blah blah. Right. So, and I'll be watching anyway. So we'll, let's hope they lose. No, don't say that. No, me and football. We'll see you soon, regardless. Whatever happens, we'll see. So. Yeah. Right. Cool. Lovely. And we'll see you next time, guys. Yeah. Thank you very much, guys, and we'll see you soon. Be love.